Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in, Winning Cures Everything. It is the Friday, March 11th edition of the show. I forgot to press record on this thing when Chris and I started talking. So if you missed the very beginning where we started talking about the fact that Major League Baseball is back, then you can go listen to the podcast. We would certainly appreciate that. I also forgot to mention on the early part on the podcast that we have set up a bracket for everybody to compete with us next week. We are going to be out of town. Chris and I both are headed down to Florida for spring break with our families and whatnot. We need a break. So do us a favor. Go ahead and sign up. You will find it as soon as the brackets are revealed. We'll be tweeting it, and it will be over at winningcureseverything.com. So go ahead and check that out. I think Winning Cures Everything, we'll post it on Monday morning. But it's an ESPN bracket. You can find it. Just search for Winning Cures Everything on there on the ESPN tournament bracket. And take care of that. So, again, if you want to listen to us talk about Major League Baseball coming back, then you can do so over on the podcast. For now, we are going to go ahead and dive into the first topic of the day. Let's go ahead and talk some NFL. Let's talk NFL. I'm excited about all these different moves. We've had, I wouldn't say blockbuster moves. We've had one blockbuster and then some really, really big stuff, right? So we'll start off with the Russell Wilson trade. And Russell Wilson is being traded to the Broncos, or has been traded to the Broncos. The details on it, he agreed to waive his no-trade provision, but it is 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and Drew Lock, a defensive tackle, and I cannot find the guy's name.
Noah Fant
is the tight end, but they've got a defensive lineman in there as well, and Shelby Harris. There we go. So 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 2022 fifth-round selection, and the Seahawks are going to give up Wilson and a 4th-round pick. Now, everybody, I say everybody, there are a lot of people in the media that seem to believe that the Seahawks won this trade. They think that Russell Wilson is aging because he's 33 years old, et cetera, et cetera. I think this is pretty easy to figure out. If you get the dominant quarterback, if you get your franchise quarterback, I think you won the trade, regardless of what you had to give up for it, right?
Nobody in the history of football has ever traded away or lost in free agency a starting dominant quarterback like this, a let's call him just a premier quarterback, okay, and won the trade or won the deal. No, that's never happened. No one has ever overpaid for a quarterback and really ever been upset about that. So this is just what it is. Like I shouldn't say it. They have ever overpaid for a premier quarterback. Like the cost of paying for him, never got so heavy that it wasn't worth it.
Right. No, I think you're right. I will tell you this. There are rumors abound that the Seahawks have been calling the Texans to see what the status is on Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
And I could totally see that. Now, I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of teams that have called around for Deshaun, but that one would make sense. I mean, you get him up to Seattle, kind of get him out of the limelight a little bit, which is what Russell Wilson has done. The NFL is such a big sport. Whoever is up there is always going to be in the limelight anyway. But
my biggest issue with all these talking heads, these media guys, I want to get back on the Wilson part, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
All these people that talk about this sport are talking about it loose because all of them look at last year. That these people look 6 inches in front of their face and they just assume they know everything about somebody because of what happened 4 months ago. Okay, like I usually don't like giving the excuse of an injury to a player as to why they struggle. But when you're a quarterback and you injure and you're having surgery on a finger on your throwing hand, I think that's probably more important than somebody who's struggling with a hamstring problem or an ankle injury or a shoulder, injury on their off arm. Like I think that's probably more important to the ability for them to do their job and do it well.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
So people just want to look at last year's numbers only, and then that's all they want to hold on and stand behind. And I just think that's just lazy. It's just really, really lazy.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of resume from Russell Wilson to say he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the country, and I don't think it's close. I think he fits in there pretty easily.
To say that
he's really good.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely good. To say that he's aging when he's 33 years old, Aaron Rodgers just won back-to-back MVPs.
That's just so stupid.
And he's 38 years old.
I had an argument on Twitter yesterday with morons who think that Matt Stafford and Russell Wilson are equal because they're the same age and they both miss, about the same amount of games in their career. One guy plays through injuries all the time. Matt Stafford is a tough son of a bitch. I'm not arguing that at all. But that guy is frail. That guy has back problems, neck problems, arm problems. He has lots of things. He plays through them. That's fine. At his best, he's never been close to Russell Wilson. Never been close to what Russell's been in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. He hadn't been close. The other move that the Seahawks made is they cut Bobby Wagner. I don't know that I'm necessarily against.
You still with me?
Yeah. I'd already moved into Bobby Wagner. So I didn't even know you were gone. It ended on the end of a sentence. So do you have more to talk about with Russell?
Nope, that's it. I just wanted to talk about that.
And so the other move that they made is they cut Bobby Wagner, who's kind of been the leader of that defense for a little while. He was kind of the last remaining, OG. I'm not necessarily against going ahead and cutting Bobby Wagner. He's getting a little older. His productivity has gone down quite a bit. And if you're wanting to turn over that locker room, get rid of the leaders on both sides and reestablish a different kind of culture, bring in guys to be leaders, etc. I'm not against that. I think Bobby Wagner can still be serviceable wherever he ends up going. I'm not necessarily against that one. I do think it was not exactly smart to trade Russell Wilson. No, they did get a haul for him, but what are your thoughts on cutting Bobby Wagner?
Yeah, you got to. I don't think he's worth the money on his contract, and I know that sounds harsh and tough, but that's the business of the business. And this is a guy that got hurt in a Cowboys game at one point in time, and when he was getting laying on the field, flipped off his own sideline and his own team. Another time in Dallas, literally ran up to Jerry Jones on TV and was like, "Get me out of here! Come get me!" So, just this obviously somebody who is not happy being there anyway. So when you're not performing at the level of your contract and you've expressed interest to not be there, I think this is best for both parties to just not wait. Now somebody else can sign him to whatever fair deal they believe he's owed.
Yeah. Was it Wagner that did all that? I thought it was somebody else.
I think it was Wagner that did all that.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that would make sense. That's God in my head. I thought that was somebody else. But no, okay. So
if it's somebody else, I thought it was Wagner, and I'm mistaken him.
Either way, sure yeah. I'm trying to look it up right now, but I don't see anything about it. So, I'm, exactly what I said before. I just think that it's like getting upside down on a used car. Right, where it's like you got him, and then the contract maybe isn't worth what the player is anymore, and that's just what ends up happening. So that is the way that it ends up going with the Seahawks. Let me do the podcast reads here right quick. The website is winningcureseverything.com. You can find everything you need to know about us over there. Very easy to do. Podcast, YouTube, etc. will be right there, along with all of our social media feeds. So, if you have not already, make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast. You can leave us a 5-star review, and that helps us out in more ways than we could even tell you. Whatever algorithms are out there, if they see people subscribing and they see people leaving reviews, that stuff helps. If you are already subscribed, hit unsubscribe and then subscribe again, and it'll trigger whatever. So go ahead and knock that out for us. you can do the same thing with YouTube. So go ahead and knock that bad boy out as well. And on YouTube, hit the like button for us on the video. If you are not already subscribed, do that. But jump into the chat. Jump into the comments. We like to talk with you guys. We like to hear from you. If you are not already following on Twitter, I am at Gary WCE. Chris is at Chris B. Giannini. And the show is at Winning Cures. If you want to see more of me, you can do so at BetUSTV.com. I'm hosting a bunch of how-to, sports gamble, whatever videos. Got a bunch of great guests, all that, over at BetUS TV. So go ahead and check that out. Now, let's move on. We will stay in the NFL. And the Indianapolis Colts actually found a trade partner for Carson Wentz. And you and I have talked, I mean, this is 2 years now. You and I have said that there is nobody in the NFL that would be willing to trade for this washed-up quarterback that has proven that he's not very good. He had one amazing year in his sophomore effort, and that's all that he's got to show. And yet,
hey, no. He didn't have a year. He didn't have a year.
Now he had
like
part of a
7
year.
weeks.
Yeah,
he had like 7 weeks.
He was MVP candidate for at 7, 10, whatever. It wasn't long. I will say that. The deal here is pretty crazy. I'm looking at it here. Washington will pay the full $28 million due to Wentz for the 2022 season, which includes a $5 million roster bonus. The Colts will receive the Washington Commanders' third-round picks in 2022 and 2023. The 2023 third-rounder can become a second-round selection if Wentz plays 70% of Washington snaps. And the teams also swapped second-round picks in 2022, with the Colts moving up from number 47 to 42, and the Commanders are getting a 2022 seventh-round pick. I'm a little interested in this. It said the Commanders offered 3 first-round picks to Seattle for Russell Wilson, but Seattle opted to send him to Denver. So I understand that the Commanders needed a quarterback, right? What I don't understand is why would you go with this one? Like, I don't understand this at all. Like, this, obviously, this has got to be the last chance for Carson Wentz to prove that he can be an NFL starting quarterback, right? I think everybody looks at the stats, and they're all, he had 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions last year, and those numbers end up good. Like, a touchdown-to-interception ratio is good. You're almost 4-1 there. But there were so many other things, and he plays recklessly. He can't seem to get it done. The Colts missed the playoffs again last year. All they had to do was beat the Jags at the end of the season, and they're in the playoffs, and they couldn't get it done. I am so curious your thoughts on this.
Well, no, I think Ron Rivera, was on thin ice. He is the coach probably on the hot seat starting the season off this year more than anyone else, and I think he's wagon to a really, really bad option for his going all in to save my job situation.
Do you think that he did this? Like, do you think he was okay with this?
I think he's okay with this because I do think he's making a lot more decisions in that locker room than a lot of other coaches. So he's not the team president, he's not the GM, and I think his voice is heard though. I don't like it. I think this is foolish. If you were going to do this, why not keep your draft picks and just spend your first round pick on a quarterback? I believe this year, I do not think this is a great quarterback class. I think out of this quarterback class, at least 2 quarterbacks will come out of it and have better numbers than Carson Wentz will this year.
I was talking to, our buddy McKinnon. I talked back and forth with him because he thinks that the Falcons should take a quarterback in the first round at number 8. And I said, I don't know that any of these guys are worth a top 10 pick. And then we started going back and forth about, this isn't exactly a big quarterback draft. And I said, and as soon as I say that, we're going to end up with 2 Hall of Famers, 4 Pro Bowlers, like guys that spend 15 years in the league. Like this will probably end up being the class that gives us a lot of really good quarterbacks because we don't see it coming, right?
No, I don't know. I don't know if that's how it works. I think we know how to evaluate these things more than we've ever known how to evaluate them in the past. So not that we're better at it now than we've ever been, but I think these guys are pretty damn good at what they do. My logic and thought process on this matter is just simply, I do think some of these guys are pretty good coming out of this draft. It's not a collection of guys. It's not a big number of guys. But I think there are a lot of these dudes that they're pretty damn good, and they're going to be just fine. And I'm going to tell you this: I would take Desmond Ridder right now, and I would take Matt Corral right now with one bum wheel over Carson Wentz today. No questions asked. Not only are you getting those guys, but you're also getting them on a rookie contract, so you're paying them virtually nothing. Like what you're going to pay Carson Wentz this year, that you won't pay them in their first 5 years of owning them and owning their rights. Well,
I think that we've seen in the NFL over the past 5 years, 6 years, that you don't have to. The whole veteran quarterback thing is maybe a little bit overdone. I don't think you have to be a veteran quarterback to be able to go in and affect a locker room and have success with a team, because I think that these quarterbacks now are so prepared for the NFL game that they can come in and be successful right away now. It used to be that you had to sit them, but I don't think that you have to now. Like, I think what you're saying is exactly right.
Don't. No.
So Corral could have been really good there.
Yeah. No, I think Carson Wentz is so overrated. It's not even funny. And for people to keep throwing out numbers and stats and information that he's still good at football, it's just laughable. It's just ridiculous. Like, you're embarrassing yourself now, people. Just stop.
I mean, the fact that Indianapolis...
why people are so heavily invested in thinking Carson Wentz is good. I guess maybe they said he was good when he was going to be a rookie or whatever, and I said he was shitty, and so maybe I'm heavily invested the other way of just seeing that we all want the thing that we said 5 years ago to be true, but we now know. Like, it doesn't matter what you said or what you thought. We have enough data. We have enough evidence now. We know the answer.
Yeah, and that's the thing is people were always, when it came to Carson Wentz, it was, well, Frank Reich left and Doug Peterson didn't know how to get the good out of him, right? Well, then he went back to Reich. And once he did that and he still wasn't able to be successful.
Everyone said Reich was going to fix him because he was good under Reich once. Listen, he ain't magic, okay?
Yeah, and now you're going to Washington, who owns the NFL's worst total QBR since the 2018 season, and its 71 touchdown passes in that span also ranks 32nd. And that it's a big reason why they've gone 24-41 since the beginning of the 2018 season. I mean, they're not good.
Did you see Washington's odds of winning the Super Bowl after this trade and before this trade?
Didn't it dropped? Like, it actually dropped to
15 points.
It was they were plus 10,000.
They were 60 to 1. They were 60 to 1. Okay, which is plus 6,000.
Yeah,
to win the Super Bowl. After the trade, they're now 75 to 1. I'm not the only one that sees this. Look, I know that I'm just a moron, and tens of people listen to this, and none of them think that I know what I'm talking about. That's fine. That's an acceptable opinion, right? These are people who do this shit for a living. They run numbers. They know these teams better than anyone knows these teams. And they think like I think.
Yeah. I think so. Part of me wonders if those numbers were a little bit inflated because they knew Washington was sniffing around. And if they did land a guy like Russell Wilson, then obviously, that changes your fortunes a little bit. So you don't want to get caught having to give up on a bunch of plus 6,000 tickets. So that might be
all I know is their quarterback room was Taylor Hennig, and they were 6,000 to 1, or 60 to 1.
Yeah, 60 to 1, and now they're 75.
And now it's Carson, and they're 75. I know it moved 15 points. So.
That is so bananas. So now, what do the Colts do? All of the rumors, all the speculation right now is that Jimmy G is their focus at this moment. Do you think that's, obviously that's like a steady hand. That's somebody that can come in and run the offense and won't make a bunch of mistakes. So that's good. But, does that do anything for you?
I actually think Jimmy G is nothing to be excited about. But I actually think Jimmy G is a step up from Carson.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think he's not nearly as reckless. He's not going to cost you in the way that Carson Wentz sometimes does. I think that's the easiest way to put it. So
he'll turn the ball over sometimes, but he'll also control himself a little more too.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still reckless plays. I mean, we saw the end of the NFC Championship game. Like we've seen it. But I do think that you can trust him a little more than you can Carson Wentz. Let's stay in the NFL. Let's go to Green Bay, where Aaron Rodgers is expected to remain, or not expected, he is going to remain a Green Bay Packer. The NFL Network's Ian Rappaport is reporting a 4-year, $200 million deal to keep him in Green Bay. That'll last until he's 42 years old. So, obviously, I do find it a little weird, by the way, that Aaron Rodgers has come out and he said on the Pat McAfee show, and he has tweeted that those numbers are not accurate. Like, do not go with those numbers. But at the same time, I kind of trust Rappaport. He gets more right than he does wrong. So even if it is anywhere close to 4 years, $200 million, obviously they are messing around with the salary cap numbers and whatnot. The salary cap, by the way, up to $208 million this year. At least that's what's being reported. Okay, so this is good for Green Bay, I suppose. They all want to keep him around. They franchise tagged Devontae Adams. What does this mean for the Packers going forward? I would imagine they're going to remain good, and they're probably going to have to get rid of Jordan Love at some point, right?
Well, I mean, you don't have to get rid of Jordan Love.
Right.
Like, Jordan Love is, I'm going to tell you this. If any NFL franchise out there is trading for Jordan Love, they're idiots too. Like, how are these people making all this money running these teams?
Well, we were shocked that he went in the first round to begin with. Like, I understand he's got the measurables and whatnot, but what we saw from him at Utah State in his last season there was not great. He's had 62 regular season passes. He led Green Bay's offense to only one score in his only career start. That was a loss to the Chiefs, and that wasn't exactly a dominant defense, He's young. He's only 23 years old. He's had 2 years learning an NFL offense, and he's shared a locker room with the league MVP for 2 years. But, I don't think he's gotten worse. I don't know what Green Bay could get back in a deal that would be worth trading him. Like, do you develop him and then allow him to go on the open market? Because now you've got Rodgers tied up for 4 years. That's going to extend past the rookie deal. What? I don't know what you can do here.
Well, nobody's worried about. You're not worried about him going on the open market. Like, you're not worried. Like, you know what he can do, and it ain't much.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Like I mean, if somebody finds it, like, wants to come get him, great, trade him. But that's just not going to happen. That's just not realistic.
Yeah, I seriously doubt anybody's looking at trading for him to be a starter by any means. And at the most, you might give up, a couple of draft picks for him or something like that if you think that he's got something. What is he? He is 6'4", 219 pounds. I mean, he's ideal size, but dude's got a lot of work to do.
Well, he just doesn't look good, though. I don't care what size you are. I don't care any of that stuff. At some point in time, you got to be able to play football.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. CBS Sports says, given the importance of the quarterback position, it is not unfathomable to think that the Packers could fetch a day 2 draft pick for Love, and it doesn't hurt that this is a relatively weak quarterback free agency and draft. So yeah,
you're talking a day 2. You're talking a second round pick.
Second or third.
That's just not happening.
I don't think so either. I don't know why anybody would do that. There are plenty of projects that you can get on a rookie deal that, you would have more time to develop them on a rookie deal that you can get in the second and third round. Like, you don't have to bring in Jordan Love, who's on a first-round rookie deal, and is already 2 years into it.
I just don't think Jordan Love's ever going to be good. So
I think you're probably right. You're probably right. We'll see. I don't know. They said Atlanta and Washington. This was before the Washington deal. So they also said Seattle. Seattle could be a spot if they're just desperate, right? But I think Seattle doesn't necessarily want to go that route. They may want to take somebody in the draft and just completely restock this thing. So who knows? What does it mean for the Packers as far as keeping Aaron Rodgers in tow? Just stay the course. Keep doing what you're doing.
They'll be good, but they'll be good. They just won't have any money to build around him. I mean, congratulations, you franchised. Devontae, you're gonna be real good this year, probably. But that's it. Rodgers is going to make a lot of money.
And then you won't have enough money unless the salary cap ends up jumping up to, what did they say, $250 million in the next few years. If it jumps that much, then, outside of restructuring Rodgers and giving him more money, which is always a possibility, they really won't have a bunch of money to put pieces around him. So, I get wanting to keep the two-time MVP or the reigning MVP, but also, man, this is crazy. That's a lot of money. That is stupid money. All right, the last thing that I wanted to hit on today, this will be a shorter show. Lincoln Riley's new pad. Have you seen this thing?
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Holy macalamas. All right, let me give you the rundown on it. Front Office Sports said Lincoln Riley dropped $17.2 million on his new oceanfront estate in Los Angeles. It is 13,000 square feet, got 7 bedrooms and 12 baths. Now, explain this to me. Why in the hell would you need 12 baths?
I guess people coming over your house party.
Yeah, I guess that'd have to be it. A bunch of partying. They got a 5-car garage, an elevator, 7 fireplaces, a movie theater, a tennis court, a putting green, a sauna and a steam room, a 600-bottle wine room, and they got a guest house. And the pictures of this thing are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. He owned 2 homes in Oklahoma, in Norman. And one is still up for sale. It's $1.9 million. And this one that he just bought in, what is it? Estates? No, hold on. Let's see. Palos Verdes Estates, California, at $17.2 million. So, and I will tell you, it does look a lot nicer than the one that he's got in Norman, Oklahoma. I will say that. He's actually got neighbors in Norman, Oklahoma. I don't know that you can have neighbors when you own an estate like this in Los Angeles, man.
Sure he does. Sure he does.
But they're so far away. Are they really considered neighbors?
No, they're really not. They're really not. It's just the way the picture's taken.
Oh,
they're really
Lord.
not. You don't have a lot of land. This thing's not sitting on 9 acres of land, Gary.
That's true. That is true.
All right, and it's not oceanfront, by the way. It's got an ocean view. It's way the hell up on a hill. He's miles away from the ocean.
Yeah, okay, I see.
His backyard doesn't go up to the ocean. That's bullshit. And $17.5 million is not a lot of money for a house in L.A. This is a beautiful house, but this house is nowhere close to the ocean. Nowhere close to it for $17.5. The houses in Malibu for 13,000 square feet are going to be $70 million. Okay?
Yeah, if not more.
All right.
Yeah, Malibu's ridiculous.
Listen, yeah. So this guy is it's a nice house. It's a beautiful house. It's a gorgeous house. It's a big house. It is an impressive thing to you and I. Okay, that's all it is. Because in that world, this is a little dick move.
You're probably right. Let's see. I'm
Adam
looking
Carolla
up.
does a podcast. Okay, Adam Carolla is a podcast guy. Adam Carolla's house is the equivalency of this.
True.
And he has a second house in Malibu on the beach. And he's just a podcast dude. This is supposed to be some big shot Hollywood famous, god of football. Okay, all right.
I'm looking at this. And so he's got to roll through to get all the way over to I-10 in order to get over to USC. And it is a 25-mile drive. It is a 43-minute to 1 hour and 15-minute drive.
I'm going to bet he's never making that drive in less than an hour.
How do you figure he gets there? Like, how can he beat the traffic to be able to?
Well, he can't. He can't beat traffic because LA traffic is always traffic.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, the I-10 is always.
Which is fine. Like, I drive over an hour everywhere I go, for my job. That's fine. I don't make what he makes. It's okay. That's all right. But, like, it's just, I don't. Anyway, this is the house that was for sale. That's a really good price. It's like $1,300 a square foot. In LA, that's an amazing price, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No, there are 700 square foot shitholes that are being sold for $1 million. Okay. Yeah, $1,300 a square foot, pretty damn good.
It is not bad. Rolling Hills Estates is right next door. It's just south.
That's also how I knew this thing wasn't close to the fucking ocean. Not close. Like, it's close to the ocean compared to, like, I'm close to the ocean right now. All right. But it ain't close to the ocean to anybody that lives in LA.
It's it's close, but it's not. It ain't a beach. It's not a beach. Like, it's nothing like that. It's you're out looking over it. But it is just south of.
Well, yeah. When you're on a mountain, when you're on a hill, you can see really far.
Yeah,
so he could see the ocean.
30 minutes south of Redondo Beach and Hermosa Beach, and then Manhattan Beach is just a little north of that. So
I'm gonna bet he's not 30 minutes to any of those places because I know what LA traffic is.
Well, I mean, you hop on Highway 1. It's not. Okay. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Okay, I'm just telling you. I know what LA traffic is.
You're not wrong, but it doesn't have to hit. He doesn't have to hit interstates or anything like that. So I don't know if it's that crazy, but regardless, the place looks exceptional.
It's a nice place.
It is definitely a nice place, and yeah, maybe an upgrade over what you had in Norman, Oklahoma. I will say that. I don't know that this is why you move, which is what a lot of these college football guys are talking about. Like, oh man, like look at this and da 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 da. It's like,
well, I mean, you move because you're in LA and you're not in Norman, Oklahoma. That's why you move. It ain't for the house because he could have had a million times better house than this for a lot cheaper in Norman, Oklahoma.
Oh, most certainly.
They just don't build houses like that in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
but he could have had everything in this for a fraction of that cost.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. But it won't be looking out over any oceans. I will tell you that. So, but I don't necessarily know if you have to have that view. So, oh man. All right. Is there anything else you want to hit on today's show? All right, let's go ahead and get out of here. Let me wrap this thing up. Everybody knows where to go. winningcureseverything.com. Go ahead and check that out. If you hadn't subscribed, do that. We're going to get out of here. We know March Madness is rolling. You guys take care of yourself, take care of each other, and hopefully, all of your tickets cash this week. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show.